Depending on any other life choice you make, bartending, as a job, can take you all over the world. Sure, there are different liquor laws and customs and taxes and rules and visa requirements, but the work itself is a world-encompassing transferable skill. If you travel and go for drinks, not just in well-known cocktail cities, but literally everywhere, you can pick up on local drinking cultures. I made 2 whole pods about hyper-local drinks, remember? But to make those podcasts, I had to immerse myself in the drinking cultures of those cities. It requires a level of openness that a lot of us do not have trained into us when we start our bar journeys. It also requires some gastrointestinal fortitude. Who needs 6 shafts in a night? I'm Josh LIndley, and this is Branching Out, a Bartender Atlas podcast. This is episode number 2. In the first episode, I spoke with Kapri Robinson from Washington, D.C. about who taught her to bartend, who gave her the knowledge and skills to be who she is. And she told me about Sarah Ruiz. Sarah is from San Francisco and built her career there, but a few years ago she moved to Ecuador, Quito specifically. Once she arrived, she put together a cocktail menu for Juliana in Guayaquil that won her and the team a 50 Best Award for Best Menu. Less than a year ago, she opened her own spot, Big, right in Quito. Without going too deep into it, her whole move to South America made her think, will people even like my cocktails down here? And with that curiosity and openness, she's done very, very well for herself. If you missed out on the first episode of Branching Out, the goal here is to learn who taught the bartenders we are speaking with to be the bartenders that they are. I was excited when Kapri pointed us in the direction of one of her mentors, Sarah, who, as mentioned, is in Quito, via DC, via San Francisco. And that's enough for me for now. Here's my talk with Sarah Ruiz of Big Bar in Quito, Ecuador. Great. Excellent. Thank you for coming in and doing this. Yeah. We're going to start off. I sent you that email. You got an idea of what we're doing today. I believe that you have prepared based on how many emails went back and forth and that we were actually talking, which is great. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, of course.
So we're already recording. I'm going to jump in. You're good?
Go for it.
Okay, we're good. We're in. Dear Sarah Ruiz, I'm so happy to have you on Branching Out. Rather than reading a bio that you never gave me because I never asked you for it, can you tell people who you are and what you do?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Josh. I'm Sarah Ruiz. Right now, I'm based in Quito in Ecuador, where I own and manage Big. It's a high-volume cocktail bar in the neighborhood called La Floresta. And our focus here is really creating a neighborhood bar with like original guest experience, building a strong team culture, and maintaining the kind of hospitality standards that I learned early in my career. So that's what I'm up to.
How many seats are at Big Bar?
Technically seats, we have about 45, but we can smush like 150 people in here.
The rules on liquor licenses and how many heads you can have in a room are a little looser in Quito?
There's guidelines, but I haven't seen them be enforced. And as far as liquor licenses go, there are not those.
Yeah.
You need to like obviously get permits to operate like a restaurant or whatnot, but it's nowhere near as difficult as the States where, like I'm from San Francisco, you have to basically be grandfathered in these days to get a liquor license. So no, easy peasy.
So the reason that you've been invited onto Branching Out is because on a previous episode, I talked to Kapri Robinson. And Kapri says that you taught her everything about classic cocktails and knowing classic cocktails inside and out and memorizing them all, but then also fucking with those recipes if it makes sense.
Nice. I love that.
Does that sound like the way that you bartend?
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
And it sounds a lot like kind of my upbringing and what my teachers taught me too.
Right.
It's a bit of, I don't know, these days I'm starting to think it's an old school mentality, even though I feel young. But 100%. I think definitely the foundation is the most important thing. And there's no point in, like running before you can walk or jumping to college before you graduate kindergarten. So that's kind of how I explain it to kids these days.
Is that a method that you use when you're training everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do think that it's like cooking, right? Like I use that metaphor a lot too. Like you learn the basic classical techniques, the mother sauces, all of like the different cuts, you can't really move on to your own creativity until you master that. And I think it's very parallel. with the bar.
Yeah.
Like if you don't understand the classics and beyond the classics, like just understanding spirits too. Like what spirits are made from what and which way and why and what do they lend themselves to more. And all of that base knowledge is much, much more meaningful in my opinion, as far as like your longevity goes. That creativity is amazing, obviously, but I think all of the creativity kind of stems back from that.
Yeah. You won a big deal award not long ago, 2-3 years ago, correct?
Yeah, I'm 2022.
2022. And tell us about this award.
So when I first moved to Ecuador in 2022, I moved in January, and I designed the beverage program for a bar called Juliana in Guayaquil, a different city on the coast in Ecuador. And 8 months later, we won the best cocktail menu in the world, 8 months after opening. And obviously, like that recognition was a huge milestone. And it really just showed me that the creativity and systems I've developed over the years could resonate on a global stage, and gave me like a lot of confidence to stay here too in Ecuador. It's like, okay, things can happen as well.
Do you feel like, as we were talking about the idea of building that foundation and knowing those classics and then building upon it and then winning this award for best menu, do you feel validated in the way that you train people?
Totally. Yes. Because like everybody, you have to like be confident and stick to your guns and do what you think is right all the time. But when there's something tangible that comes out of it, you're just like, fuck yes. You know, like it is okay. It is working. It's not just me in my head being repetitive and hoping it's all working out the right way. So yes, definitely it kind of validated that. And especially with the market here, when we first opened Juliana, we opened with a classics menu. Like it was, the names of the drinks were all classic cocktails with like small twists. Because one of the cool things about this country is just like the natural produce, the resources, there's amazing ingredients. So I just took very simple classic cocktails, made a balanced menu, and put some of their cool ingredients in there to test the market, to be like, do people like cocktails here? And when that was kind of proved after about 3 months, then we went on to make the menu that we won with.
And what made you move from Juliana to Big Bar?
Well, you know, I live in Quito. Since I moved to Ecuador, I've lived in Quito, and Juliana is in Guayaquil. It's like a 40-minute plane ride away. So I was never planning on living there. And I'm still part of the team at Juliana, by the way. We're still doing really well, and I still run the beverage program. But I knew I wanted to have something of my own in the city that I live in. And I really wanted to build like a neighborhood-style bar that reflected me.
Mm-hmm. How long ago did you open Big then?
We have 7 months tomorrow.
Brand new. So congratulations.
Thank you.
At what point in your career did you decide bartending was going to be the thing, or owning a bar, or designing menus, or, you know, teaching classes, whatever it is that is bar adjacent? When did you think like, this is it for me? This is what I'm doing?
Kind of think almost right away. And it wasn't that it was the bar or doing menus or anything super specific, but I knew that hospitality was it for me. Mm-hmm. Like I started I have a fine dining background. That's how I started. And there was just a certain like level of execution, sense of pride, focus on details, and kind of that thought process and mindset. It did it for me. Like I knew whatever sector I would be in hospitality, it would definitely be in hospitality.
Yeah. Was there a specific event, like a turning point that you saw and like, that's it? No,
honestly, not at all. And I wish I had a better answer for that one. I think it wasn't like a day or a moment or anything like that, but I did realize so I started out when I was about 19 in fine dining, and I was still in college. And 2 years in, I had stopped going to school because I was a psychology major. I didn't want to get my PhD, and I was really, really loving what I was doing at work. And it was in that time that I realized that there's just constant progression, constant growth. You can't study enough to know everything in this industry. Mm-hmm. And the concept and the thought of that is what really hooked me. It's like, it's always changing. It's always evolving. Of course, you can be an expert, I suppose, but you can't really ever encompass everything that it is. And there's always new things to learn. The industry is always shifting. And I think that concept is what made me realize that it's a lifelong career.
What does your studying psychology tell you about the idea that you have chosen something that there is no end to this journey? This is like a fool's errand to think that you can ever know everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit, yeah, I agree.
Are you
I'm
still...
not sure.
Yeah. Are you still engaged with psychology? Is this still something that you're interested in, or have you kind of you quit school and kind of forgot about it?
No, to be completely honest, it was never, I'm interested in it, of course. And I think it's a skill like we use every day. Like I've always kind of had a sense, I've always been able to like kind of feel how people are feeling, not to sound creepy, but like it's resonated with me. I say, that person, maybe I should step back a little bit. Oh, maybe they're having a great day and they want to celebrate. And I think that transitions into our industry so well. So I feel like that thought process and those kind of skills are continuously used. But no, I don't plan on going back to school for it. And I don't know that I was never passionate about it. It was just like, this is interesting. This will be my major. It was more along that thought process.
Kind of like a curiosity rather than something driving you.
Exactly.
Yeah. In the lead up to our talk, in the emails that we sent back and forth, I asked you to have an idea, a list, if you will, of like 3 to 5 people, businesses, books, whatever it is, that really you feel are like the pillars of who made you the bartender that you are, or the bar owner that you are. Can we talk about these people, books, experiences, etc.?
Yes, 100%. Okay, so for people, I would say, so I should mention I worked for the same company for about 10 years. It was a hotel company based out of San Francisco. It was national, but their flagship was in San Francisco. And throughout that time, I met different mentors within that whole entire company. So one direct mentor who like pulled me into bartending, really gave me kind of those same skills. I'm sure I mirrored him in my leadership ways that I did kind of to Kapri. He, threw books down my throat to memorize all of the classics. He was like a genius with whiskey, with scotch. Like I, had to do blind tastings and call out which region it's from and like even producer. Like it was that for a long time. And his name's Brian Meats. And he definitely provided my foundation for my base knowledge for everything to do with bartending, as well as like developing cocktails and flavors and ingredients and things like that. And a lot of production stuff too. He really taught me how to execute production, how to always keep your notes, how to be organized. So Brian was definitely my younger bartender mentor, like for the many years, I'd say 5-6 years, we worked side by side. Moving forward, after I had already ran my own bar programs and mentored staff, I moved back to San Francisco and worked at a bar called Pacific Cocktail Haven. His name's Kevin Dietrich, who runs the bar. And he was in the same Kimpton crew, we would call it. We all worked for the same hotel company too, in different hotels. And so what Kevin really taught me was, for me, like the business of bars. That's really where I got a really great knowledge of, like, bartending isn't just about making great drinks. It's about running a profitable, sustainable business. He emphasized importance of margins, repeat guests, building systems behind the bar. He always put hospitality first. And also something that I don't know if people talk about enough is like personal well-being. He was super disciplined outside of work as well, and like prioritized fitness and health. And as I got older, it really inspired me to see that like resilience and self-care are essential too in this industry, and just overall professional standards. So I would say Kevin was a really big mentor to how I operate today, and has been a big help and kind of like a voice in my head for decisions I make even day to day right now in the bar.
I have definitely in my career stolen several of Kevin's drinks and served them at bars that I work at.
They're delicious,
always with appropriate credit. But yeah, I've definitely used a lot of Kevin's drinks. Yeah. Do you and Brian stay in touch?
Of course.
Yeah. Is he still?
He's down in Boston. He's still bartending.
Yeah. Who else comes to mind, or what other books, or what other things do you think of when you think of who built you into this bartender? Right? It could be a bartender. It could be a movie star. It could be anybody.
Okay. Well, another like huge mentor throughout the years. Her name's Emily Wines.
Okay.
And she was the master sommelier of our company, but she was based in San Francisco too. So we really had the luxury of like utilizing her constantly. I mean, she would invite us to her house for tastings. She was amazing in that way. And just like super, super sharp, super graceful, really showed me a lot of how to like take successes in stride and not be douchey. You know what I mean? Kind of like she's probably one of the most like acclimated people I've known, and you would never smell it on her. Like she's just cool and sweet and down to earth and brilliant. So I take a lot from her as well. As far as like books and podcasts and stuff, to be completely honest, I'm not a big podcaster girl, but the one podcast I have always listened to here and there is the Eric Castro, the Bartender at Large podcast. I really like it because they're like conversational pieces and with different, it's like distillers or spirit experts or bartenders or historians, and it kind of covers a lot of ground. And I like that it's global too. Yeah. I would say it's not specific to any market or any style. And I've learned of bars or of people that I probably wouldn't have figured out on my own just from getting by it. For books, there's like a few I always reach for. So, I mean, there's tons of great cocktail books, right? But I would say Liquid Intelligence, since I first bought that book, I've opened it at least a few times a year. Just because it gives you like really good technical mastery and kind of like the why or the how as well as the why. Do you know what I mean? Also, for cocktail books, I love vintage classics and forgotten cocktails because, like, you know, I have like a very classic structure, like a classic pedigree. And so that book, in a combination with the flavor thesaurus or the Noma fermentation, like I like to take that classics book and grab another book to kind of deepen the flavor profiles or whatever, but like still keep it very classic. And you find, I mean, there's dozens and dozens of cocktails in there that I don't think anyone's ever really heard of. So that's a great one. And one I've been loving, I think it's pretty new. It probably came out last summer, the Meehan Pantry book. I really like it. I like how simple and delicious the cocktails are. I use a lot of his production recipes, whether I'm swapping it out with something else or not. I just really like how clear and concise it is. And it also kind of like grounds you in ingredient awareness and sustainability. There's that edge to it that I think is really important right now as well.
I loved the Bartender's Pantry because the idea that it's a bar book with no booze in it. It's all the other things. And like there are some ferments and stuff, but it's not, oh, this is how you hold a Hawthorne strainer and this is what vodka is. It's everything else that you need behind the bar. I think that's a really good shout.
Totally.
So we talked about Brian and we talked about Kevin and we talked a little about Emily. I'm going to reach out to at least one of them and do a similar sort of talk with them. What would you want to ask, say, Kevin or Brian or Emily that you haven't asked them that you can sort of throw me in the way of it? Throw me on a grenade or,
Maybe basically like, did you always believe in yourself? Would be kind of like something I'm interested in, and kind of even to like go deeper on that, like how did you feel? Because they're all very successful, you know. How did you feel when you started to publicly rise in different ways? And did that humble you or challenge you or all of the above? Like, did you change anything you were doing based on the circumstances that you were put into over the years?
And how much?
Is that a good question?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And like, how much does the circumstance change the way that you approach things or think of things? That's great. You should start your own podcast.
Nice. I would be curious to see, all of their answers.
Yeah, that's a good broad question too. I might just steal that and use that for everybody.
Do it. You want me to think of another one for me?
No, that's great. So your 7-month anniversary for Big is tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, you might be celebrating your 1-year anniversary. Other than that, what else have you got going on? What projects are you working on right now that people should keep an eye on you for?
You know, at the moment, I'm really just trying to grow Big. But to be honest, I am seeking out other areas. I have fallen in love with Latin America, and I really just think like the ceiling has raised in a certain way for bars here, and it's still an emerging market. Obviously, like it's very established in many cities, but there's still a lot of emergent cities. So I am kind of seeking those out as well. Not necessarily to have another big, but to have another something.
Every time you talk about growing big, do you chuckle to yourself?
Kind of because of the name.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I have a really, really amazing team here. We're a really small team. There's only 6 of us total with the cooks and everything, but they're awesome. And we were talking about starting a small consulting group, and we were thinking of calling it like Grupo Grande, and right. I thought it was really cute. No, like Big Grande. I don't know. Yeah. They shut it down. But,
where did the name Big come from?
Okay, so in San Francisco, maybe this was like 12 years ago, there is a guy named Brian Felly and Mo Hodges, awesome bartender duo, that had this bar called Big, and it was only 3 seats or 4 seats or something like that. You couldn't walk in, basically. Mm-hmm. They had no menu, they made drinks, just kind of like for whoever was there. And it wasn't around very long, like maybe 2 years at the most. And I asked them for approval if I could steal their name. But I really liked how the space was so small, and it was called, I don't know, just kind of gave this like cheeky, like they don't take themselves too seriously vibe. And the first space I looked at here was tiny. It was like 50 square meters.
Wow.
And I ended up not renting it because it didn't work out business wise. Like we were never going to make money. But the name stuck. So I was going through the process of leasing it, and I had group chats like big this, big that. And so when I found my eventual space, literally across the street, the name just stuck.
Very good.
And I wanted it to be an American word, an English word. Yes.
Right. Also, as we discussed, we all steal drinks from each other all the time. You stole the bar's name. Next level.
Exactly. But I have the receipts to show I asked. They were like, it wasn't even our bar anyways. It was like some random hotel contract. And I was like, amazing, perfect.
Yeah, great. How do people find you if they want to keep up with Big or with you?
Our Instagram at Big is big.uio, and mine is Sarah Ruiz 87.
Amazing. Sarah, again, thank you so much for coming and being a part of this. And we'll let you know when it airs. But thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. It's my pleasure, Josh. Thank you.
Super appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye, Sarah. Hey, did you pick up on that? Producer Aaron figured it out. Kapri and I talked about how Sarah influenced her, but I never asked Kapri's question. Kapri wanted me to ask Sarah
if she feels that her dream for her career in the industry is coming to life right now.
So I emailed Sarah, and she wrote back, to answer Kapri's question, I think I've accomplished all of the dreams that I set out to achieve, but the big one is still out there. Always something to chase, right? Big thanks to Sarah Ruiz of Big in Quito, Ecuador, by way of San Francisco. If you're looking for Sarah, she's online at BigUIO on Instagram, and that bar looks so fucking cool. Time to plan a trip to Quito. I love that Sarah decided to go across the world to experience and involve herself in the hospitality sphere in a totally different place. And speaking of totally different places, we're going to change it up. Sarah had mentioned Kevin Dietrich, and I'll be talking with him someday, but this seems like as good a place as any to branch out. I'm sorry. In our next episode, I'll be talking with Vancouver's Kate Chernoff. And while she's very new to the world of bartending, comparatively, she's done well and she's accomplished a lot. If you made it this far into the show, you must hear something that you like. Please confirm that like by clicking like, and then also subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're using. Also, please keep up on all things Bartender Atlas by following us on Instagram. And if you are one of us, a bartender that is, sign up to get yourself on the site. It's a great way to let the internet know where you are working and what kind of stuff you're into. All that info is at bartenderatlas.com. Branching Out is built by me, Josh Lindley from Bartender Atlas, and Action Pact Studios in Toronto. Theme music was cut together by Aaron. What about something more Dilla-esque? Verdonk. Thanks for listening. Talk soon. For a second, we thought about using AI to reconstruct Sarah's voice. But that's not what bartending is. The whole point of bartending is that it's real. You interact with people in a genuine way. not using AI on a bartending podcast.